Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, I will be talking about 8 important steps involved in building a software and launching it as a service. Let's get started without any additional delays. The first step is to come up with a product idea. Coming up with a good product idea can be a time-consuming process. Have you noticed a problem that can be solved with a software but no software-based solution exists to address that problem? One way to come up with a good product idea is to notice if there is a problem you regularly face and you think that problem can be solved with the software. Once you have identified a problem, then do some research to find out if a software already exists to solve that problem. If you don't find any software in the market, then this might be the opportunity for you to step in and build a software to address that problem. But what if similar softwares already exist? Try to evaluate if they do a good enough job to address the problem you want to solve. If you believe that your approach is better than the competing products already in the market, then proceed further with the development of the software. It is important to be rational and not emotional when comparing your idea with what is already available in the market, because you don't want to spend time, energy, and money on something that has little chances of competing in the market. Also, don't forget to speak to the people you trust, people whose input you value, before investing more time into this idea. I built my software API on cloud because I was running into some problems at work almost every day, and it was slowing down the work. I tried finding softwares that would solve my problems, but I failed to find any software that would solve the type of problems I was dealing with. I was frustrated, but then it occurred to me that why don't I build a software to solve this problem myself? During the course of developing my software, I found a few softwares in the market similar to what I was building. And then I questioned myself if it is worth spending my time on building something that already exists. But the reason why I continued on with the development was because after evaluating other similar softwares, I always concluded that what I am building is better in terms of features and usability. So continuing on with the development made sense to me. Sometimes we are not looking in the right place. In my case, my online searches initially weren't leading me to the type of software I was looking for. This is where I think speaking to other people familiar with that space or industry might give you some useful clues. Software development. How will you get your software developed? That is the next major decision you will have to make. Are you going to build it yourself, or are you going to have it developed by a software development agency? If you are a programmer yourself, then I can think of 3 options available to you. Option number 1, build the software yourself. Option number 2, partner with other programmers and build the software together as a team. There is a good chance that you will launch your product sooner when working as a small team versus working alone. Option number 3, hire a development agency to build the software for you, giving you the time necessary to focus on administrative, legal, sales, and marketing aspects of running a software company. If you are not a programmer, then I see 2 options for you. Option number 1, hire a development agency to develop the product for you. This process can be a bumpy ride if you don't have any prior experience overlooking software development and you don't understand the software development process. Another challenge is, how would you interview and select the right software development agency? So a second option for non-programmers is to partner with a technical person and let the technical person interview, select, and oversee the software development process. It is also worth mentioning that software development is expensive, and it usually ends up taking more time than was originally estimated because of several human and technical factors. For people who are not programmers, having access to enough funds to cover the cost of software development can help things get moving quickly, in my opinion. Funding could come from your own personal savings or by all the partners in the software company or by investors willing to invest in your product. There are advantages and disadvantages of each option I spoke about, but going into the pros and cons of each option will divert me from the original topic of this video. So let's move on to the next major step. Picking the right platform for your SaaS product is another big step in the process. An easy and quick way is to go with the most popular cloud service provider. However, I am of the opinion that every SaaS founder should pick a cloud vendor after evaluating several cloud vendors based on the services they offer and evaluate the vendors based on what they charge for using their cloud services. If you are involved in technical design and architecture of your product, then first identify the components needed to build your SaaS product. Then find out which cloud vendors offer those components as cloud services. If you have found two or more cloud vendors that offer the services you need, then pick the vendor that costs less overall. If you are wondering if it even makes sense to perform a cost-based comparison before picking a cloud service provider, especially if you don't even have a product, then my answer to that question is yes. My assumption is that as a SaaS founder, you intend to make a profit from your product one day, and the sooner you start making a profit, the better you will feel, and making a profit from your product will motivate you to invest more time, effort, and money into your product. So one way to start making a profit from your business is by keeping your costs under control. Redesigning and rewriting the software is difficult and expensive. Keeping the operational cost of your SaaS product low should be one of the important goals of the technical design phase. Once you have acquired customers and your business has started growing, then you will have additional responsibilities and new priorities, which will prevent you from investing your resources in software redesign and redevelopment. A product that isn't designed with the goal of keeping the operational costs low will keep on costing your business until you address those inefficiencies. If you are planning to stay away from technical design process of your SaaS, then you should still suggest your technical team or your technical co-founder or CTO that keeping the operational cost low should always be one of the main goals of every design decision they make. During the technical design stage, think about how the users are going to use your application. Is your application going to process large amounts of data? What is the size of the data? Is your application going to process large files, images, or videos? What sort of CPU and memory requirements will the application need to provide the features you have planned to build into your product? Will you be storing a lot of data? Where will you be storing that data? Will you store it in a database or on a storage medium? If the data is going to be stored in a database, then will you be utilizing a relational database or a document-oriented database? If you're going to store the data on a storage medium, then what sort of access performance are you looking for? How frequently will the application be writing and reading the files from the storage? What is your data backup needs? Is your SaaS product going to be based on a single tenant architecture, or will it be based on multi-tenant architecture? Is your product going to be based on a few large applications, or will it be made up of several small micro applications or microservices? Will you be utilizing traditional Windows or Linux machines to run all your software components, or will you be running entirely on serverless architecture? Or perhaps you will be utilizing some combination of servers and serverless compute services. Identify how much data is going to be transferred between application components and from your application to your customers. Having this much information will help you identify the cloud service providers that best fit your needs and budget. Also keep in mind that technical designs are never final. Technical design has to be revisited and revised to accommodate things we missed during the technical design stage. Major cloud service providers provide price calculators that you can use to estimate the operational cost of your SaaS product. But those calculators can only provide a realistic estimate if you understand the technical requirements of your application. I have seen some cloud vendors offer free credits to startups if you meet the criteria specified by them. So keep an eye on such offers if you are funding the development and operation of your SaaS product out of your own pocket and are on a low budget. Pricing your SaaS product is another step that requires planning. Some pricing options that I am going to talk about in this section of the video will also require that your product is engineered to accommodate those subscription plans. So I think your product should be built in such a way that you can later offer different types of plans to your customers. In the previous section, I spoke about estimating operational cost extensively. Knowing how much it costs you to provide the service to your customers will help you determine the price you should set for your product. By now, you should know if your SaaS is a mass market product or if it is a niche market product. You should also have a good understanding of who your customers are. Are they individuals? Or are they small and mid-sized businesses, or perhaps large enterprises? Or all of the above? Having an understanding of who your target audience is will be helpful in pricing your SaaS product and offering plans that work for all types of customers. For example, you can have a plan for individuals and a separate plan for teams or groups of up to 5 users. For businesses, you can offer plans that charge them by the number of active users. You can also offer them training and product support plans. Another option is to offer price plans based on the number of features that are available to the user. For example, let's assume that a SaaS product offers 2 subscription plans. Anyone subscribing to plan number 1 would only get some of the features, but customers subscribing to plan number 2 would get full access to the SaaS product. You can also offer plans that charge users based on the usage, if that makes sense. Or you can keep it simple and offer your SaaS product for one flat fee. You should also think about if you are going to offer a limited trial or full access trial and what is the length of the trial period. Some software companies offer a basic, limited version of their software free of cost. The idea behind that is to acquire customers, encourage people to give the software a try, and then convince them to upgrade to the full version of the software. Also, when pricing your product, think about the customer acquisition cost and have some room for offering discounts and promotions if that is something that is part of your customer acquisition strategy. Naming your product might seem like a simple step, and it is one of the easiest steps in this entire process. But finalizing names can take time. At least that's my opinion, and for that reason, I feel that it is important to talk about this step. First, you have to pick a name for your software. Once you have decided on a name, then the next step is to go online and search if another product with the same name already exists. And if another product with the same name already exists, then you will have to come up with another name and then once again find if the new name is already in use by someone else. Repeat this process until you come up with a name that isn't already in use by someone else and a name that you like also. If you have business partners, then naming might get easier, or it may take even more time if all the business partners want to participate in the product naming process. If you are someone who isn't good at coming up with names, then see if someone in your circle might be able to help you out. There are online services that can generate names, or perhaps you can hire freelancers too. You also need to think about whether your product will have the same name as your business entity. When I say business entity, I am talking about forming a company like a corporation, a limited liability company LLC, etc. If you want to keep the name of the product and the name of your company exactly the same, then you will have to find out if a similarly named corporation or LLC is already registered. If that is indeed the case, then you will have to continue the process until you come up with a company name that isn't already taken by someone else. It is also worth mentioning that this step is unavoidable whether you decide to have the same name for your product and your company or not. You will also have to register a domain name for your company. This is the web address where your software will be hosted as a service for your customers' access. I have learned that finding a domain name or web address is more time consuming than picking a name for your software and a name for your company. If you are planning to register a domain name that matches the name of your product, then don't forget to check the domain name availability as soon as you have a name for your product. Once you have the name finalized and domain name registered, then spend some time and create social media accounts for your company or your product, even if you don't plan on being active on social media anytime soon. Registering social media accounts ASAP will help you secure your preferred social media account name or handles before someone else registers them, leaving you with no option but to settle for an account name that isn't the same as the name of your product or company. Company formation. Another easy step in this journey is the formation of your company, the company through which you will enter into business transactions with your customers. There are a few options that I am familiar with, such as registering your business as a limited liability company LLC, a C Corp, and an S Corp. You may have more options depending upon where you live in the world. Do some research on which type of business entity best serves you and your partners in business. Consult with tax or business professionals to understand what would be the advantages of one type of business entity over another. You will also have to decide whether to register your company from the very beginning or wait until you are ready to launch your SaaS product. If you have partners and investors, then I think registering your company early is going to make sense. But if you are working all by yourself, then you can wait a little longer also. But that's just my opinion. Please consult a business and tax professional for proper guidance. Registering the company involves paying the company formation fee, deciding what will be your company's business address, who will be the key members of the company and their title. If you have partners in the business, then this might also be a good time to discuss how the ownership of the company is divided amongst the partners, what the roles, responsibilities, and expectations are from all the members, and how will the company make its business decisions, etc. The good news is that there is plenty of information available online on the topic of company formation in the form of videos and documents. And there are plenty of experienced professionals available who can help you with the formation of your company and provide the necessary consultation and guidance. Your SaaS product will need a website. And I can think of a few things that you need to spend time on before you are ready to launch the product website. Number one, you need to decide whether to build the website on your own or hire a development agency to build the website for you. Perhaps the same agency that is building your SaaS product can build the website also, or you may need to hire a different agency. Number two, whether building the website yourself or paying someone else to build it for you, you will still have to be involved in the website design process. If you have a business partner, then find out if he or she is more interested in leading the design and development of the website, if your preference is to stay focused on other non-technical aspects of the business. If you don't have any business partners, then you will have to stay involved and lead the website development effort also. Number three, When building a website, we generally have the option to design the website on our own, or if you have hired an agency, then ask them to come up with a design based on your inputs. Another option is to find a free or paid template online and customize it for your product. The third option is to let the website development agency take the lead on this effort and let them design and develop the website with minimal inputs from you. Also note that if you are building a product for individuals and small teams or businesses, then there must be a way for them to buy subscription to your product. And to make online purchases possible, you need to first find a company that can process electronic payments for you. Finding a payment processing company isn't a problem, but it requires some work to integrate electronic payment processing service into your website. Allocate some time for integrating payment processing into your website. If your customers are mostly mid and large sized enterprises, then perhaps having the ability to process payments electronically on your website isn't as important. You can perhaps skip this step. That's just my opinion. But it doesn't hurt to have the capability to process electronic payments into your website, even if you think most of your customers will never make payments electronically. Your website is one of the places where you can post your policies. I'm talking about things like privacy policy, user agreement, and terms of service that your product users must fully understand and agree to before signing up and using your SaaS product. So you will need to set aside some time to find and work with a professional who can write these policies and agreements for your website as well as for your SaaS product. Since payments are involved, you should think about what your refund policy is going to be. You may also want to create a user guide for the users of your software product. Your website is where users will be looking for information about your product, so posting the product user guide on the website is an option. You also need to think about how your users will switch over from your website to your SaaS. There are different ways you can redirect users from your website to your SaaS. This is another task that needs a technical discussion with your team or with yourself if you're building the website and the SaaS yourself. You will be needing at least some providers who will be hosting the services you need to run your business. For example, your SaaS will be hosted on a cloud platform, so that means you need to pick a cloud service provider. Your website also needs to be hosted somewhere, which means that you need a web host as well. You can host your website on a server in the same cloud platform where you have decided to host your SaaS product. You will also need SSL, TLS certificates to secure the communication between your customers and your SaaS product and website. So that is another technical piece of work that requires attention from the person leading the technical aspects of the business. You will also need an email service provider that allows you to use your domain name in your email addresses. You will have to start looking into additional solutions such as a solution to manage product defects and a solution for source code management. Defect tracking systems become necessary if you have multiple programmers working for you. Can you manage defects without a defect tracking system? Perhaps you can using spreadsheets, documents, and emails, but managing defects in that way will take a lot more time. Similarly, managing code changes can become difficult if you have a few programmers working for you and you don't have a source code management system. Source code management systems can help you and your development team avoid a lot of problems and challenges that developers face while building software. A source code management system can also serve as a backup of your entire code, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be backing up the code yourself periodically. And with source code management system in place, you can control access and permissions to your product's source code too. I'm hoping that the information I have shared in this video is going to be helpful for those who are thinking about starting a SaaS business. The steps I have spoken about in this video are based on the work I needed to do to launch my software as a service company. It is also important to mention that this isn't a complete list. You may have additional things to worry about as a SaaS founder, depending on what you're building. For example, sales and marketing is a big topic that I haven't covered in this video. Then there may be legal and compliance stuff that may be applicable to you depending on where you are starting your business. So I suggest you to continue your research while you are building your SaaS product, and good luck. If you have found this video useful, then you can support this channel by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. This would also help me engaging interest in this type of content. To support my software, you can buy a subscription of my software. Details are in the description below.